Hello and welcome. You're watching IDFC First Bank presents ET Now, Leaders of Tomorrow's Season 13 Springboard in the city of Jaipur. Jaipur has always been India's undisputed crown jewel when it comes to the hospitality sector. And tonight we'll hear from industry insiders as they weigh in on how a city rooted in rich royal heritage is now finding the most traction in new age and niche market segments.
On the show tonight, in the first segment, we feature Anil Menon, business head, commercial vehicle and construction equipment at IDFC First Bank. And in the second segment, we bring you a power-packed panel discussion featuring Surendra Singh Shahpura, co-chairman of FICCI Rajasthan State Council, Tarun Bansal, president, Hotel and Restaurant Association of Rajasthan, and Kuldeep Singh Chandela, immediate former president, Federation of Hospitality and Tourism of Rajasthan.
जयपुर इज़ अ हेरिटेज प्लेस और वेडिंग्स के लिए जो हमें एक अच्छा सा लुक और एक सारी फैसिलिटीज़ जो चाहिए वो हमारी जयपुर सिटी में है.
फॉर ग्रोथ एज फार एज एम्प्लॉयमेंट अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ आर कंसर्न, ये बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है जयपुर के लिए, लेकिन उसका हेरिटेज को प्रिजर्व करके रखना भी इक्वली इम्पॉर्टेंट है.
As far as you ask me that can I build up my career in tourism here in Jaipur or not, yes, I can look forward to it, but we all need a correct guidance or maybe a proper infrastructure.
So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Rather, it's a privilege to be speaking in front of you about the city which is dearest to all of us, and it's the most fastest growing city in the country also. So as the theme says, India's crown jewel in the hospitality sector, Jaipur. So ladies and gentlemen, in fact, if you, the heritage status which Jaipur has got is the second city in the country which has got this status post Ahmedabad, and UNESCO has given that status, which is a privilege to any of the cities in the world. And this has definitely ensured that the world is looking at us, they're looking at our industry, tourism industry. It has not only expanded our tourism business, it has taken us to a level which is envious to many countries also. And definitely Jaipur gets the credit for this. If you look at the industry as such, in Rajasthan, there are a lot of industries which are there. Infrastructure and logistic, which is a very fantastic, fastest growing industry. The government has already earmarked 60,000 crore for the 2,750 kilometer Greenway Express roadways which they are planning to build. There are 9 greenfield new projects which are coming, and all of you know that this Jaipur sits in the midst of Western ports and Delhi, and which is very closer to DMC corridor. The policy reforms, you can see that the kind of policy reform we have, government has allowed in hospitality sector. Digital service, obviously digital has helped us to move a notch higher. So we at IDFC Bank believes that, we believe in ethics. Similarly, we also believe in technology, and technology empowers the decisions. It fastens your decisions. We also do a lot of social good, which ensures that, the upliftment of, the entrepreneurs, support them, give the livelihood. These are certain things which, certain features which we have for, especially for MSMEs, startups and all. We handhold them from the early stage when they start. We have a startup current account where they can have zero balance for the first 3 years. That account which we provide, zero balance, absolutely you don't have to pay anything. We support them with a startup kit where they understand the issues which they face. We nurture, we give our classes, we train, we make them understand how to deal the issues. We have Bravo account, which I have already told you. We also have a no lien account. You'll find that a lot of, the government or a lot of money which comes from outside. We don't mark any lien. It's absolutely no lien. So that is something which we give to early startups so that, they don't have an initial setup. They can grow, they can keep getting the payments from the agencies. We also have a founder success program where, we, as I said earlier, also we nurture an entrepreneur, how to go about in this. And for the growth up, once from startup, they move to the other stage, we provide them the working capital. We have API integration. We also give them the credit card and the fleet card, which I said that, where they can manage their expenses. We have a lot of treasury solution. And obviously, we, arrange the marketplace access also to all of you. That's it. Thank you so much.
It's time for a short break, but our coverage of IDFC First Bank presents ET Now, Leaders of Tomorrow's Season 13 Springboard here in the Pink City continues on the other side. We'll be right back. Hello and welcome back to our coverage of IDFC First Bank presents ET Now, Leaders of Tomorrow's Season 13 Springboard in the Pink City. Join us as we catch up with industry insiders who weigh in on how the city's business landscape withstands a deeply cyclical, seasonal and tourist-driven economy. Here are the highlights.
Ladies and gentlemen, the data never lies, all right? So I believe each conversation, deserves a look at the facts and figures before any speculation or theorizing. And so I'm going to start there. And, I'm going to come to you, Surendra, with my first question. All right? The data seems to indicate that in 2023, Rajasthan had a tourist footfall of upwards of 18 crores. And in 2024, that figure touched nearly 24 crores. So all headed in the right direction, all reason for optimism. But give me a better understanding of the domestic versus international footfall and how you expect that ratio to evolve going forward, sir.
Thank you. And Kamagani, everyone here.
Kamagani.
See the question what you have asked, the data, what you have said. In this, the majority, maximum number comes to domestic. There are reasons why the inbound has gone low that we can discuss later on. But this has happened after COVID. That has given a different picture as far as the domestic traveler is concerned. The traveler is more a youngster. They need to get out for their 5 days hectic, schedule, especially the nearby cities like Gurgaon, Noida and all. That's a blessing for Jaipur, especially for Rajasthan, Alwar, NCR region. And this number has increased. And this is going to go more because joint with them is your MICE and wedding. Now, if you take this number, what you have said, this number is not only a single segment tourism, right, which we called as an, first FIT. So it's a joint number of the wedding, it is of the MICE. People nowadays are traveling more into the spiritual pilgrimage cities. Rajasthan, Jaipur is blessed with that. So all this thing happening in Rajasthan is because of that.
Well, thank you for setting that context, sir. And I think that makes for a wonderful segue into my next question. I'll come to you now, Tarun. All right? So, Surendra is of the view that an overwhelming share of the tourist footfall is domestic. And one of the challenges that comes with living in a city largely driven by a tourism economy is that it's incredibly cyclical and seasonal. And during the off-peak, you find yourself in a particularly vulnerable position, and so does the small business community. So what happens in a scenario like December 2025, where you have the Indigo, immense large-scale flight cancellation crisis, and tourist footfall falls by upwards of 50%? How does that impact the small business community? How well prepared was Jaipur for that crisis, sir?
Indians are always well prepared. That's what we call jugaad. We are, if everything goes smooth, you start having a tick, what's going to go wrong?
Right, right.
So, having said that, you see, the industry today is much more resilient, and that is because we have gone through, like you said, COVID. Post-COVID, I think the most important thing that has happened is that people will willy-nilly now travel. Yes, it does affect the small hotelier more than it maybe does the chains, but at the same point of time, the small businessman also has less overheads.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. And, if we're bringing up those hotel chains, right, I'm going to come to you now with my next question, Kuldeep, all right? So residents in Jaipur and tourists in Jaipur are spoiled for choice, between Hawa Mahal and Jal Mahal and Shisha Mahal and Jantar Mantar and Amer Fort and Birla Mandir, and the list goes on, correct? There's so much to choose from. But how do you feel about the trend of the city's most picturesque palaces now becoming heritage hotels for the world to experience? Is that all positive? Or as a Jaipur native, is there a downside to that development, sir?
First of all, thank you very much for inviting us.
Absolutely.
Very interesting question you have put in, and especially for Jaipur you asked. So I would say that first, you spoke about heritage and the properties, all the mentions you just named. I would like to thank right from Maharaja Jai Singh Ji, who built this city 300 years back. And in 2027, we'll be completing 300 years of Jaipur. So I'll request the government also, and I request media houses and all to have great celebration around the year.
I think that deserves a round of applause right there. 3 centuries of history.
So 3 centuries history we are talking here. So we should be grateful to all the royalties here who have built their palaces, all the Jagirdars and the Seth and Saukars and all who have built their Havelis and all, which are, most of them are converted into heritage hotels and all. And Rajasthan government many years back during Bhairo Singh Shekhawat Saab's time, they had come with the heritage policy also. And the heritage policy helped a lot to save the heritage buildings. And today also the same policy continues, and if you have a building built before 1950, so that you can obtain a certificate and you can run a hotel there or a museum or something like that. And therefore all the monuments and all you just mentioned, which are very, very important because of these monuments we can bring tourists here and we earn our bread and butter because of this. So the protection of monuments are very important. How to reach to a monument is very, very important. And how to have clean toilets there, which is very, very important. And also today's traffic, how to control that. So it is time for us to come forward and discuss on this topic so that we can really come out with brainstorming, some good solutions, some good suggestions, which can help us to maintain these properties we have.
You are, I think, spot on. And, building on your point, coming back to you now, Surendra sir, when we talk about Jaipur, what's often overlooked is how innovative it is. From, edtech to medtech, and from fintech to food tech, it's all found a home here. So is Jaipur making somewhat of a deliberate effort to diversify and broaden the scope of its tourism narrative, sir? Could it become India's next medical tourism hub and hotbed, for example, with the way education is blossoming in this city, right? Could that become the next pillar of strength for a deeply diversified tourism ecosystem? And we brought up Birla Mandir just short while ago. So religious tourism also no longer takes the backseat. Your views on new age niche markets that are now emerging in this city?
So you'll be surprised that recently in the central budget, the Honorable Finance Minister has already declared 5 cities where medical hub is going to come. And Rajasthan is already going on that line. The government is already going on that line on Agra Road or somewhere. They are doing their homework. It's a little too early for me to say that. We already have a proposed Medicity here. So that is going to, that it is not just business or it is not just people coming here. It is going to give, employment to a lot of people.
Sir, it's very heartening to hear. And I want to bring up another one of the realities coming to you now, Tarun, because when we all sort of soak in Jaipur's warm hospitality, I think what oftentimes gets overlooked is the fact that the attrition rate in this industry is sky high. all right? And what that sort of does is make you wonder if the incentivization structures are simply not in place. And then further, what are the solutions? Is the solution to perhaps encourage more promotion from within rather than hire from the outside? Is the solution perhaps to encourage more avenues such that contractual workers become permanent? Because ultimately, that guide or that transport operator or that front desk at the hotel reception, they are the brand ambassadors for this city. You know, your thoughts?
Yes, like with any industry that is looking at a sunshine career or a future, we do need trained and motivated manpower. This happens at two levels. One is at the base level, the blue-collar workers, our cleaners, our dishwashers, pantrymen, and so on, security guards. How do we get more and more people to join? This needs a collaborative effort between the industry, between hotel management or skilling colleges. We have some representatives here from that industry, and the government. We need to mobilize a student when he has done or she has done his 10th and is looking at career options. So that's when we need to, on a mission level, go to these schools and colleges in the hinterland, approach them, talk about the employment and future employment. You see, hospitality is one industry, given the threats of AI and automation and mechanization. This is one industry that can give you jobs at your village level. It can give jobs in the towns, the BNC. Right. And it can give you jobs with low skill sets. And you can grow.
Right.
So there is a tremendous opportunity here for state also to generate employment. All three of us, the academics, the industry, and the government needs to work together. Government for mobilization, reaching out, academics for making flexible courses. A lot of times you see the courses that are made are they're state, they're 20 years back.
Sure.
Second is, and we as Hotel and Restaurant Association of Rajasthan have been talking about this. Why are we now expecting a student to pay the fees, complete the course, and then join the industry? Can we look at earn while you learn programs?
Right.
But that requires flexibility on the ground or on the part of government to consider this to be given a diploma or a degree or a certificate, and more so on the part of the academicians, where they say that fine, it's not just a 6-month hunar se rozgar jisme we can, but we can also look at a 2 or 3 year diploma, degree, certificate course. You work and you study together.
But let's look at a homegrown example. Okay, and I know the comparisons between Jaipur and Udaipur are endless. They will go on till the end of time. But one example that I found particularly powerful is that I think Udaipur has deployed an all-female, police patrol specifically for the safety of the female tourist. So it's for the safety of the general public, but specifically for the safety and really the comfort of the female tourist. And I'd like your view on whether Jaipur ought to be doing something similar.
This can be adopted, but I am very sure that in Jaipur, whether it is a female or a male tourist or the people who are the police over here, they are very friendly and you hardly come across any incident.
I'm going to come to you with my next question, which I'm going to pose to all three of my panelists, but I'll start with you, Kuldeep. Look, when we go to different cities and we go on a pan-India roadshow across the length and depth and breadth of the country each season on Leaders of Tomorrow, we handpick panelists in each city who we believe truly care about the small business community. And their actions prove it. All right? So for members of this audience that are potentially considering entrepreneurship in the hospitality space, or are perhaps struggling to find their footing in this industry, sir, what words of advice might you have? How might you guide them?
It's very, very important if one wants to come into hospitality industry. It has got many, many segments. You can start from taxi owner to a taxi driver to a local guide to a regional level guide to a national level guide. Then you can get into handicrafts business. You can be a painter, you can be an artist, you can be a supplier. The sky is the limit in tourism. You have to come in and you can enjoy it. And because we see this every day and we have done our work in many of the segments, so we know how important it is. And that is why we always ask our children also to get into this. And I'm happy that my one daughter is a chef and she has got into the business. And second will come also soon. So that what happens that whatever we have prepared, and if children take over and they take it forward, and they are digital friendly and they have got their vision also, so that will really help industry to go to a different level. And Rajasthan, I see a very, very bright future in tourism here.
The legacy lives on. And the same question comes to you, sir.
If you are a honest Rajasthani, you have 0% risk to enter hospitality industry. If you are staying with your family, if you have grown up with them, you attend your culture, you move around in your society, you are perfect. Now you come down to the finances. If you have a house in which you are staying, and if your parents allow, we have a paying guest policy. Start small. If you really want to be a hospitality runner, you need to have hospitality in your DNA. Atithi Devo Bhav. This has just not come like this for Rajasthan.
Beautiful. Round of applause.
Do talk about your city, do talk about your food, do talk about your state. With folded hands, I request everyone here, they are seniors, much more experienced than me. अपने राज्य के बारे में, अपने शहर के बारे में आप तारीफ ही तारीफ करिए. Nobody than us is the biggest brand. We should talk. Please, whenever you want to go out, एक बार international बाहर मत जाइए, बाकू मत जाइए, इजिप्ट मत जाइए. If you want to go to Egypt to see Cleopatra, please go to Chittorgarh. Travel your own state, Banswara, Minal, Kota, Bundi, Hadoti. Travel with your family. If you are married, if you want to go, आप जैसलमेर जाइए, आप ओसिया जाइए. Near Jodhpur, we have a tribal Bishnoi village. Tarun has a data on that. Go there. Please spend your first money in your own state. Thank you very much.
Beautiful. And Tarun, I'll give you the last word.
I think this is one industry जहाँ पे आप पैसा ही नहीं कमाते हो, आप किसी को अच्छा खाना खिलाते हो, वो comfortably ठहरता है, वो आपको दुआएं और देकर जाता है. So there is no industry, at least for me, which is as good as tourism. For a young person or somebody who wants to join, the future is very bright. Keep learning because the future is also very, very flexible and it changes at a great speed. There is a phrase that I had learned somewhere, a sentence, and I'd repeat that. In matters of principle, when you come to culture or heritage or inheritance, stand like a rock. In matters of style, go with the flow. So I think that's the...
Phenomenal. I want to thank our panelists for sharing such a rich range of experiences from their personal and professional journeys alike. A huge round of applause, please. I believe it's deeply deserved. Surendra, Kuldeep, Tarun, you've really done justice to the topic. With that, our coverage of IDFC First Bank presents ET Now Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13 Springboard comes to a close. I'm Pooja Jain signing off here in Jaipur. Thanks for watching.